My name is Samantha McCabe, and I've been coming to Restoration for about 3.5 years. This place has become just such a great place for healing and a feeling of home for me. When I was very new to Restoration, somehow I got a message from Leanne that was like a call for people to put out a testimony. It was a video that was about to be for Easter. The prompt was that you would bring a part of your testimony and write it on a piece of cardboard and say, like, if you were addicted, you would hold that up and then you would flip it over and say, like, I'm restored or I'm healed. And I remember getting that text from Leanne and just feeling really sad because I was wondering, like, what do I have that I could say and turn it over and have this like beautiful redemption. I didn't have that story yet. Me and my husband Sam had been through a hellish last 4 years. We had experienced job loss, infant loss, church loss, and friend loss. And this had just left us it had left me personally in shambles. I was here, but I wasn't fully convinced yet that who I could trust and that this was really a place of restoration for me yet. The trauma of losing my little girl Harper was still so very much alive in my body. It had been almost 4 years since she had passed. And I had even had my son Hudson in between that time, but every day was a mental, physical, emotional battle to not be overcome by fear, anxiety. And there were truly times, I don't want to sugarcoat it, there were times when I wasn't sure if I wanted to still be here or to still be alive. It was that hard and that dark every single day. But what's so sweet about my time at Restoration is that ever since I hit those front doors, there's never not been somebody who wanted to embrace me and to love me. One friend in particular that I got into touch with here, she is the reason why I was referred to my first counselor. And I can just tell you, there were so many sessions with her that I would just walk out of that counseling room and just weep, knowing that it was only by the mercy of God that I was able to go to that session, but also just to hear someone else's say, like, hey, let this grief, let it just happen to you. That was the first time I was able to actually grieve my daughter's loss. Being in that counseling session with my counselor was truly life-changing. And I will also never forget, back in the old building, in worship, I'm not on staff, I'm just a congregant. And I remember the Lord just giving me this sense of, like, Samantha, I don't want the glossy, the put together you. I don't want that. I want this version, not the person that's cleaned up. And I just remember losing it and just really truly believing for the first time that the Lord loves me in that state and wanted me in that state. My youngest was born November 8th, 2022. Silas, come to find out, had a very similar thing happening in the womb that Harper had. He had the umbilical cord wrapped around his belly and around his hand. And I remember Sam leaned over to me in the hospital room and he was like, man, why should we just have this moment of a peaceful birth in this place? I just remember having a clarity from the Lord and just saying, like, Sam, I think the Lord needed to take us through that same valley, that same death valley, so that we could see that God can take us through these same places and truly redeem us and show us his hand in a different way. And I think it was these experiences that just started to lay the foundation for the restoration that I was going to experience. Probably about a year and a half ago, I was actually driving home from a First Wednesday. I just felt this impression about this phrase, it's time to get the word out. And I could pretend like I didn't know what that meant, but I knew that that meant talking about what happened with Harper. And by no means had I accomplished any feat or gotten to any great place of healing yet, but he had wanted me to not stuff it down and to say what was going on, what had been happening, and what I'd been learning from the Lord about grief and about what he truly thinks about suffering. And so part of that journey is me starting my own counseling practice. I am still in my associate apprenticeship, kind of, and it feels a little crazy to be starting my own practice at this point. My hope with this counseling practice is that other people that have been through the very same dark, desperate place that I've been in will know that they are not alone. Greg says this a lot at Restoration, that we are all broken human beings in need of the love of God. We don't amplify our brokenness or idolize it or try to hold it on us as a badge of honor, but we daily confess our brokenness because the only way we have to keep going is because we have a Savior who says, "Blessed are those who are mourn." If I can think back to that original video that Leanne was calling for people to bring a testimony, if I could have that cardboard box here sign, I would say broken on one side, and I would turn it over, and the thing that I would say is that still broken, but fully loved, fully loved.